Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 10 meeting of the Harbordale Civic Association. We have a full agenda tonight. We have a full room. But before we get started, I do want to make a brief announcement. All those members in the room who are board members, would you please stand up, all our board members? Come on, board members, stand up. Okay. Pamela, I want to thank everybody who's a board member. And I also want to thank all of the people who put out our signs, our meeting signs. That's a job that, they take on every month, and they bring the signs out and then they bring them back. And I want to thank them because it's important that people know about our meetings. Okay, that was my public service announcement. Okay, we're going to get started tonight. Unless there's something very important that anybody wants to talk about our public safety and ask questions of our more people and ask questions of our police officer. We don't have our regular police officer here now.
If anyone has any questions, comments,
Yeah.
anything that we can work on for next meeting, any ongoing concerns.
Aside from homelessness, in addition to homelessness.
Yeah. I would say if there's any ongoing issues with homelessness, make sure you contact or use Fix It for Lauderdale. That's been a very good tool. Our hot sergeant, our homeless outreach team sergeant, she gets those alerts at the same time that you submit them. She gets the alerts and she sends somebody out there. And so and community court is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So if you can always refer them to us, but we always refer them to community court.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're going to start out this meeting with a presentation. Oh, before we start, I want to recognize in the room, we have Sabrina Javalera and Vicky Gargano from Commissioner Sorensen's office. And we also have Kira Coleman from Chip Lamarca's office. Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight is the Southeast 15th Street, east of Cordova Road sidewalk feasibility study. And presenting it here for us tonight will be Milos, my friend Milos. Okay.
Let's not go into the last name.
No, we don't go to. Thank you, Milos.
Yes.
He came to us a couple of times to talk about this, and in the spring he said that the city commission had agreed to do a feasibility study, and this is the results of the feasibility study only. I want to make sure everybody understands that this is a presentation for information only. We will not be taking a vote tonight. There will, in fact, be a city public meeting on September 30th, also in this room, more specifically for all of the residents on Southeast 15th Street, not the whole Civic Association. And then I believe there's going to be a second one too.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, then we may get down to taking a vote, but there will be no vote taken tonight on any of this proposal. So Milos, with that introduction, you're on.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Milos. And I'm Director for City's Transportation and Mobility Department. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. We are here to talk to you about South Street, east of Cordova, and how we can improve safety and walkability along that street, right? So we have some easels there with concept plans and whatnot. And with me here tonight behind me are our consultants, Artem and Johnny. So I'll make a little introduction and then I will turn it over to them. So in terms of the background, Southeast 15th Street, east of Cordova doesn't have many sidewalks. So it's about 3,400 feet between Cordova itself and Fisheries. There is only about 900 feet of interrupted sidewalks. Community came to us with concerns related to pedestrian safety in early 2023. We met with HOA and some of the community members. It was about a dozen people in February of 2023, spoke about concerns, and then worked immediately with Broward County Traffic Engineering. What we did, we installed some 3 sets of signs that simply raise awareness of pedestrian and bike presence within the travel lanes, because there was not much more than that we can do at that point of time. Ultimately, in early 2025, our city commission directed us to look into feasibility of installing either pedestrian path or a sidewalk along Southeast 15th Street, at least one side, given limited, not right away, but space. I would put it that way. And then we engaged our engineering consultant, Kinley Horn, to look into feasibility. So in here tonight, again, we have a consultant, and that will go over presentation and a couple of alternatives. In terms of the next steps, we'll go over that, but Marilyn mentioned already that we have a public meeting on September 30th, and that will be a hybrid meeting. We are mailing postcards, so whoever lives on Southeast 15th Street might see something like this in their mail over the next couple of days or next week, right? So you will see something like that. Just basically sharing information about upcoming public meeting, also with a QR code that will take you to our webpage with two different concepts. You will also see some of the yard signs that will look like this. We'll place them along Southeast 15th Street. The point is to make sure that everyone is aware what the alternatives are and what the impacts might be. So that's all from me at this point. We'll go over presentation, and then we'll be here to answer any questions that you guys might have. So I'll turn it over to Artis.
Thank you, Milish.
We have 10 participants online. 11.
Who's driving the PowerPoint?
Me, I'm driving. You tell me.
All right,
tell me when
could
to
you
go.
please go to the next slide?
Next slide.
Thank you. All right, so a bit of a background on the project and its scope as well as the limits. So our study extends from Cordova to the east to the fisheries along Southeast 15th Street. Milos already gave a bit of a project background. As some of you know, there is no there's sparse pedestrian facilities along the corridor. And we were tasked with studying how we can potentially connect all of those existing facilities, or what is it that we can do to improve the walkability within the corridor. So the scope of the project was there is several parts to it. The first one is to evaluate conceptual alternatives. So we'll go over into each part a bit later in the presentation. The second part will be to obtain public feedback. So today is our first time reaching out to the residents, to the community, and kind of telling you all where we are with our evaluation and what are the options that we're seeing, as well as all the some of the challenges that presented us while we were evaluating. Okay.
Next.
No, hold on one
All
second.
right.
So then another task that we're going to do once we receive this feedback and from the public, we'll prepare an opinion of probable construction costs, which will help the city determine how to proceed with the project. And at the end, we'll prepare a memo that essentially summarizes everything we've done, the alternatives that we evaluated, the feedback that we've gotten from the public, the costs, and that will be a document that the city uses to decide what are the next steps in this area. The next slide, please. So as far as the project schedule goes, we are actively evaluating alternatives. We're here today to present our findings so far. There is a public involvement meeting on September 30th. Miller's mentioned that that's the first official time that we will be getting, I guess, votes, right? There will be another public involvement meeting at a date to be determined once we kind of gather all of the feedback over the next couple of weeks. We'll decide on when to have the second one, and then finally, after that process is completed, we will put together final documentation for the study. Next slide, please. So it's kind of hard to see. The slide that you see on the screen shows the existing condition. So the city owns 50 feet of Southeast 15th Street. If you think of it, there are 2 travel lanes. Each travel lane is 10 feet. So there is 15 feet on each side that are currently occupied by something. In many cases, it's parking. In other cases, it's green areas. In some other cases, it could be sidewalk. So we are working within a very tight corridor that is constrained by features that are located adjacent to the road, and we'll go into alternative evaluation, typical sections, or kind of potential options this could look like, and try to explain what is it that we're seeing in different areas of this corridor. Next slide, please. So the alternative that we are evaluating is to add a path. again, the area is very constrained with parking, so we've evaluated several different alternatives that involve, shifting the road, doing different things that are very impactful from perspective of parking, as well as the landscaping and other physical features like utility poles and things like that. So what you see here today are the two least impactful alternative when it comes to the residents. So our proposal is to provide a 4-foot paved path that would run and connect between different, we have some boards here in the back that illustrate existing sidewalk that is sparse throughout the corridor, and how we plan to essentially provide a path that connects different parts of Southeast 15th Street to each other. So in some cases, what we will need to do is essentially delineate a path, the 4-foot path, by adding striping and doing some milling and resurfacing of the asphalt. In other cases, where there is green space now, or maybe there is just unpaved areas that are used for something else, that those will need to have additional 4 foot of asphalt added to it, so that the path is continuous throughout the entire limit. So this first alternative, and next slide, please. So here's an illustration of how this could potentially look like in real life application. On the left, we have a cartoonish graphic that represents the two-way road that Southeast 15 is today, and a 4-foot separated path that the pedestrians would be using. The picture on the right side shows a similar condition that was in another state, and this is how it potentially could look like in the future if the project is to move forward. So that's the first alternative that we have. The second alternative is a bit different in the sense that in this case, I'm sure you have driven on express lanes along I-95. There is a separation between the general purpose lanes and the express lanes, right? So the idea here would be similar, and it is to provide a separation for the path between the travel lane and the surface where the pedestrians would be walking. We're proposing a 5-foot path under this scenario, but again, this option is more invasive, is a more expensive option, and we'll get into potential scenarios that involve impacts to different parts of Southeast 15th that we need to be mindful of. Next slide, please. So this is how alternative 2 could potentially look like. Again, we see the two travel lanes in each, and then a separation, which will be 2 white stripes, kind of like think about the express lanes divided from the general purpose lanes. And in some locations, we could also propose adding an additional, let's say, barrier or small, I wouldn't call it a barrier, a small separation, which we call zebras, right? Which is I believe they extend from it's a rubber armadillo that extends approximately 2 inches from the ground, and that kind of prevents the car. I don't want to say prevents the cars, because if you want to drive over something like this, you can. But it's an additional measure that separates the travel way from the pedestrians. Next slide, please. So the next few slides will cover anticipated impacts that we're seeing in all alternatives. So we're here to seek feedback. By no means this presentation is final, and we need help from residents to be on board with the improvements that are being proposed, because without the residents' help, this is very difficult to accomplish. So the first area that we're looking at, this is very early on, and let's say in just east of Cordova, Norwich Apartments, there is a dirt area that is currently being used for parking. And in this area, you can see from the pictures and from our field review pictures, if we were to provide a path it is like we would be asking for help from the association there to shift the parking spots farther to the south. So we're not proposing to eliminate the parking spots. We're just trying to, let's say, accommodate everyone within the available space that we have. We just went out there. We went to the project area several times first to do our own research, and just recently now with Miloš to see if there is room to accommodate the shift, whether it's going to be 4 feet or 5 feet. That's to be decided, but there seems to be room that goes towards the building. The other part that will be important through all of this areas of anticipated impacts is collaboration from residents in how they park. So there is a lot of there's not a lot of space available, so parking as closely and as neatly together as possible will be key for these improvements to be implemented, because what good does it do if we do add a space for a path, but then residents park 2 feet away from the wheel stops and then cover the path itself. So again, this has to be a community effort, and we're here to work with you all to come to a solution. Next slide, please. I can't see the comment.
What are you looking for?
Landscape.
No,
No, this is,
Can you see?
yeah,
Can you see the condo name?
the name of the Marina Del Mar condominium parcel.
So this is let's say this is the most complicated area of the project by Marina Del Mar condominium. What's going on in the area is there is tandem parking, and you can see from some of the pictures, and again, we were there on several occasions, there are sometimes cars that park right against the travelway or in the travelway, depending on the length of the cars. So in this area, what we propose to do, but again, we'll need collaboration from residents in terms of parking, is to reduce the path in all alternatives to 3 feet, which is the minimum allowable for walkability. And by doing so, we're trying to minimize the impacts to the residents in the area. We're still keeping the tandem parking and providing the continuous path to go through this area.
Okay. Next.
Yes, next slide, please.
If you don't
can
mind
we-
holding just a few
Yeah.
more minutes.
No, I can see.
This is, there's no name on this. Oh, yes, Caravel condominium.
So this is another area of a Caravel condominium, and
Maybe the view and look, see the whole thing.
yeah.
But no, he can't do it. I'm continuing.
Okay.
I'm doing it. Don't mess with the screen. Don't mess with the screen.
So again, collaboration from residents is in play in this area here. We did not see tandem parking here, but as you can see from the picture on the bottom left, there is offset parking that's from I'm guessing the sidewalk that leads into the inside of the condominium, and the car is not perfectly aligned with the wheel stop. And so even if we do the path and the car doesn't park the way they should be parking, it's going to be an issue.
Not even parking.
There is, let's say that there is parking. there is-
Everybody parks wherever they
Yeah,
can park.
I know.
Thank you.
Just saying.
So again, it's a community effort to get this done. We as engineers can imagine things and we can design things. But if you just go ahead and park your car in the middle of the path, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. So
Next.
thank you. Next slide, please.
And this is the,
This is landscape, I think.
Yes, this is landscape. I'm just not
the
sure.
Oz Marine LLC. This is the one that's got the grassy area.
Right.
in front of
So this area currently is all grass. In this scenario is one of that I was explaining earlier. Is here we would actually have to add asphalt. We would have to add a path for 4 foot wide and remove some of this sod area that's currently there. There is, in this particular scenario, there is one tree that will be impacted that's within the path, but it will not affect anything that's currently planted on the private property.
Okay.
All right, so here we have our feedback request from you. There is if you do scan the code with your cell phone with the camera, there is a couple of questions for you to answer, and there are some points for points to everyone to consider, right? The proposed pathway currently is on the south side, right? This is a continuous path that focus, and the idea of the study is to focus on minimizing the impacts to the parking spaces. So same thing, landscaping, right? We don't want to provide a very wide path in just one area and impact and remove completely the grass that's there. We're trying to do as minimum as possible. And last but not least, there will be some impacts. It's unavoidable if the residents do want to have a walkable path, something will have to give.
If I may, before we go ahead and scan the code and you guys start giving your feedback, by show of hands, how many people live on Southeast 15th Street east of Cordova? So in this area. So
And online, lots of the people online are.
Lots of people
Yeah.
online, perfect. All right, so maybe if you guys wouldn't mind providing feedback, we are particularly interested to get your feedback, right? Because you live in the area, there might be, things to consider in here, what's, more important and whatnot. Obviously, we're trying to provide a balance in here between providing pedestrian accommodations and keeping parking as well. So I will let you, if you don't mind, scan QR code. I'll take a look at the questions, provide your feedback, and then we can go into questions and answers.
All right, now we'll go into questions and answers, and I'm hoping that everybody keeps their questions and statements succinct, because we do have another presentation, an important one tonight. And because this is one meeting, it's the first meeting, there will be two more meetings specifically for the residents of Southeast 15th Street. They will actually be here. So there will be another meeting just for the residents of 15th Street to continue to provide their input. I just want to take president's privilege and ask a couple of questions first. Okay. So if I understand this correctly, we're going to connect the existing sidewalks on the south side of 15th Street. There are sidewalks in front of the office building on the corner, and there are sidewalks by the boat ramp. And this is going to be a connector between those two. Am I getting that right?
That is correct. There's
All right.
another area that we plan to utilize. It's just east of the office building, just east of the Norwich condominium.
Okay,
That is usable as a path.
okay. And you've already identified the impacts on the individual associations, which is very good. Will you be providing assistance to those associations in terms of redesigning their parking so that they lose as little as possible? And also, will the city, as part of the scope of services, be providing funding for any resurfacing of their parking lots that would have to be done in order to minimize the loss of parking? You don't have to answer now. I'm just putting these on the table, okay? And the other question I had, which came from our original discussions about this, these parking spaces, anyone who's going to lose a parking space, we need to be absolutely sure that that does not throw them into non-conforming status. They have to be assured that if they don't have as many end up with as many parking spaces as they have now, that they are not going to be non-conforming, that they will be grandfathered somehow in terms of their deficiency in parking. So those are my two concerns. Now, I had a lot more concerns, but since it seems to be that you're working to try and work with each condominium to reconfigure their lots where they may, where this may impact them, then I think that's a big improvement from where we started.
Yeah.
That's my own comments. And now we'll raise your hand and we'll try and go around the
Do you
room.
mind if I respond?
Certainly.
All right. So the first one was if the city would be providing any assistance to private properties in terms of redesigning or realigning, right? So far we identified only one basically property that would require some realignment of parking spaces. It would be basically shifting their existing parking about 3 or 4 feet down further south, right, from where it's currently happening. And if you go back to the
It's the
slide.
Norwick, right?
Yeah, Norwich, I believe it's called.
Norwich.
Yeah, so it is, yeah, go down.
This one right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
Mhm.
so if you see on where the cursor is, right, you see two white vehicles there, right? So those are the vehicles that would be,
These had to
yeah,
move.
that would be encroaching into this path. So we are simply asking for where one single vehicle is south of these two white, for that wheel blocks to be moved about 3 or 4 feet further south. It looks like there is a space there. And it will be just moving of the wheel blocks. I'll get to you. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived there. I have questions. I just had that blacktop. I tried to work with the city,
Mhm.
with the permits, to try to reconfigure our parking.
Uh-huh.
And I had to go by like their specs. This job was just done.
Okay.
I would gladly work with them, but today now you'll work with me, but last week you wouldn't.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware of that. If you need any assistance
I
from my,
wasn't talking to
yeah.
you. I mean, I'm not trying to get, no, don't take me wrong.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't dealing with you. I'm dealing with the city permits.
yeah,
And they are cut and dry. Even if you try to steal a little bit from over here, a little inch over here and put it over there, they will not let you do it.
I see.
Yeah,
So
because
thank you, thank you.
I think I'm following up on that. When you go to get a permit to do something like that, the engineers at the city, your city, okay, you've got to work with them because they're going to say, no, you can't move that block because now you don't have adequate room. When you move those cars back, you're decreasing the amount
Yeah,
of
yeah.
room for the in and out of the cars to the point where, you know, the city engineers who do the permits may say, no, that's on you guys. You
That's
got to
on
work
us.
that out.
Yep, yep. That's absolutely on us. So we will help out with that. There are certain variances always that can be pursued and whatnot. So that's on us. But whether we will be providing maybe some level of technical assistance, yes, to a certain extent, right? But I don't think that we will be providing any funding to improve private property. Yeah.
I'm looking for money.
Common sense we can.
Okay.
The answer, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Something like this, you're saying is, it could be 3 feet.
yeah.
All right? You could take a couple of inches on the other side, a foot on the other side, foot on our side, that will alleviate a lot of problems.
Yeah, and that
You
is,
ever think of that?
yeah, and that is a good feedback.
Steal a little bit from here to
Yeah.
add to that side.
So I think that if I hear you right, what you're saying is maybe we should take away a little space from the north side as well, right?
If you could, yeah.
I see.
manipulate,
So
manipulate.
that is absolutely one of the options. The catch is that if we start doing that, then we have to shift the roadway. We have to reconstruct the roadway. There are certain transitions where you basically cannot just shift 20 feet of the road without transitioning in and out. So the construction cost is going to be much higher. It's absolutely feasible to do it, but it's ultimately matter of engineering and funding and what the cost is going to be.
They're gonna be down 15th Street. But once you do this, like the 3 intersections that were just done, money out of my pocket, if we do those 3 intersections, they got ripped up because of sewer.
Yeah, there was a utility break at one of them, but I can get a question and I will,
If they,
Connect.
down the line, if next year or 2 years from now, you're gonna come down 15th Street down to the end with new sewers.
I can answer that. There are no new sewers coming onto Southeast 15th Street. There's, would that there were, but there are not.
Yeah.
They just finished a sewer project in front of 1501, which was a a fix-it of a broken sewer and an easement. But aside from that, there are no plans to go down 15th Street with no sewers. But that is great feedback.
Yeah.
It's on the table. Let's
Yeah.
put it on the table. Gentleman in
The
the back.
second one, there was just the
Oh,
second
two?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second question was related to conforming and non-conforming. and
Yes,
whatnot.
yeah.
So the reality right now is that looking at this photo in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The two vehicles, and I'm not pointing out to this residential condo only, right? Two vehicles that we see in there, and any vehicles that are next to the travel lane should not be really there. They're not, shouldn't be there. There is encroachment of vehicles that are parking within a city's right of way, right? So it's a city's right of way, right? The city has allowed historically for that to happen, all right? And we haven't been enforcing. I actually am overseeing parking enforcement as well. That's within my department. We're not coming there to enforce it, right? Unless there is something that really stands out, right? And that creates any safety issues, right? So our goal in here again is to work with the community. We understand that if we are to take away and you know take back that 15 feet on either side of 15th Street, that we would impact parking a lot. We're talking about over 100 parking spaces if we just touch one side of the street. And that's not the intent. We understand that you need parking. We understand that you also need some type of pedestrian accommodation. So we're trying to balance, you know, between the two, right? So hopefully that answers your question, but I will let
Okay,
you.
yes, excuse me, Michael, there's the gentleman in the back had a question.
I was just curious.
Could you just say, where you live on 15th Street? No, Norwich, okay.
So, I mean, you figure out the parking lot and you get spacing and parking lot still functions, I don't see an issue with that. However, the project down the street, it seemed like your solution was people to park better and you get your feet, and I don't know how that would work if they're already encroaching in the area you need.
Yes.
If you want them to, you say they're going up to the line now, there's no solution for them to move back. I don't know where the 3 feet comes from. So I guess it's not a huge deal if there is that lane there. But I feel I don't see a reality where encroachment into that lane isn't gonna happen. And if we're gonna, you know, if people are gonna be existing, trying to park in the same spaces that they had, but there's no solution, then they're just gonna be encroaching that lane, and if there's ticketing going on, I can see that being a big pushback. If it's, hey, we're trying to make it better, we paved the whole way, and, you know, we still get some encroachment from, you know, people around, and it happens, but it's not typical, we're not going out ticketing people. You know, then you provide a solution where, you know, you gain like 85% of it, but I just don't see a reality where new spaces are added and you're expecting them to do the same parking habits. You're gonna have that space.
Yeah, so your feedback is very valuable, and I will tell you that nothing might be perfect. Ultimately, we do have to do on both ends engineering. We will engineer the path, but behavior and training and education has to happen as well, right? People have to behave better in terms of parking and in terms of the vehicle size. That's where we'll run into issues as well. Because under this effort, we're assuming that tandem parking is going to take about 32 feet or so, right? But you have two large trucks, F-150s, back to back, they will absolutely encroach, right? So that plays a role in here as well. Now, what is the solution? Solution could be, hey, we have right of way. We do have a right of way, but do we want to impact parking? So there is basically that trade-off right in here, and we're trying to work with the community. And then when it comes to travel lanes itself, we're at absolute minimum width of the travel lanes that you can incorporate. They're 10 foot wide. You cannot go less than 10 feet unless it's a turn lane, which can be 9 feet. Typically, you should have 11 feet, particularly that there is a boat ramp at the end of the street, that you have trailers and stuff. So they never fit within a travel lane, right? So there's a lot of play on that street that, you know, so we are trying to be reasonable from both standpoints and accommodate all the needs.
Put something there in an area where people are existing parking, and there's not a provided solution to their parking habits. Expect them to park in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael?
We'll work through that.
Yeah, one of the graphics showed, as you just mentioned, that there's 10 feet of travel lane in each direction. I used to live on 15th Street, and most of the boats that get pulled
The
down
boats, have you
to
spoken
the
to the
marina
marine
down at
people?
the end of the street, far exceed 10 feet.
Yeah.
And when you figure out the trailer that I'm sitting on top of, it's huge. And the gas station at the end that sells marine gas also gets truckloads of fuel in there. And the truck that supplies their fuel and oil and the rest, it doesn't fit in there either. So they get two of those guys coming down the road in opposite directions. There is gonna be a mess on your road.
Mhm.
May I piggyback
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that?
you pick up and then this gentleman.
Just a quick piggyback on that is that it is being abused. 15th Street is being abused exactly like what Michael just said.
How is that abused?
Because they're supposed to really go to 17th Street. It says, no, there's a sign there on 15th Street. There is a sign that says, no truck, there's a certain limit and size and people are abusing it. Go look at the end of 15th Street.
You're talking about
Right on
boat
Federal.
trailers.
The boat trailers,
And
The
how are they
trucks
supposed
are-
to get to the boat launch ramp?
because they're supposed to go to 17th Street and go down and they're not doing that.
She's talking about, no, she's talking about further down on Southeast 15th Street.
They're coming.
They're coming in from Federal and they're going all the way down 15th Street instead of coming in on 15th Street, going to Cordova and then going down.
They're supposed to go.
But-
They're going in front of the school.
Ultimately, they would land on 15th Street
Yeah.
east of Cordova.
Okay.
They're
But but that's the way it is. I mean, there's no
They're too
launch
big.
ramp there.
Anyway.
All right, yes, this gentleman.
Mine's not so much a question, it is a comment that, first of all, I want to thank Milos, the city, and the engineering company for addressing this issue. And really, the situation they gotta fix is 3 to 4 complexes with parking. But the real issue, the real problem is safety.
Right.
I live on 15th Street and I literally almost got hit by a car because the guy was on his phone and I literally had to jump out of the way. There's children that walk up and down that street. The principal of Harbor Elementary is a big supporter of this. There's a gentleman in a wheelchair at the end of the street. He's literally has to get down the middle of the street in his wheelchair.
Right.
So it's not just a parking problem, people, it's a safety problem.
It's a
There's
speeding. problem.
always people walking down that street, whether they're walking to the shopping center or walking to the fisheries restaurant. I understand the concern with parking, it's being addressed, but the real problem is the safety issue, because somebody's gonna
Yes.
get killed on that street sooner or later. Especially what this gentleman said, when the boats go down there with the trailers, you can't go by. You can literally not walk down that street. So-
Excuse me a minute, Fred Myers on the online. Fred, are you unmuted?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I am.
Go ahead, Fred.
Number one, who will pay for this, either alternative? Will that be through assessment, taxes, or will the property owners along 15th Street pay for this?
Good question, Fred. Answer?
Yeah, so it would be from our CIP, the city has about $1 million in FY 26, 1 million in 27, and 2.5 in 28 and 29, subject to approval of a budget. There is also a general obligation bond that was approved last week by the city commission, which also has some funding for sidewalks. The caveat is this: we are just finalizing our sidewalk master plan effort as well, which was the first master plan to identify all sidewalk gaps throughout the city. We identified that the city has about just over 500 miles of existing sidewalks, and we have about 430 miles of missing sidewalks, including Southeast 15th Street, right? There is not enough funding that we have, right? We're finalizing our sidewalk master plan, and we're using data-driven methodology in order to prioritize the implementation of the sidewalks or the paths and prioritize funding as well. So to answer your question, it would be the city, and we will have to figure out at which point we're able to install it, provided this is something that community supports.
Got that, Fred? You good?
Yeah, one more. And is there a study as to injuries or accidents from Cordova to the marina in the last 5 years?
Yes, we looked at the crash data. There was about 26 crashes in a 5-year period from 2020 to 2024. There were 2 with injuries, and the rest was property damage only. I can give you frequency per year and stuff if needed, but nothing that was very serious.
Okay, and then we have the representative from the Island Club. You're on.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I wanted to join in person, but came down with an illness and I didn't want to infect anybody, so I figured I'd do this online.
We appreciate that.
Like multiple people have said, the main issue on this road is speeding and the size of the trailers that go up and down this road. I've lived here my whole life. I remember when those boat ramps were rock, and the size of the boats that should be accessing that boat ramp are not 50, 60 footers. And the size of the trucks that go down to that marina should not be 60, 70 footers. There are trailers that go down this street that are literally take up both lanes. So no matter what you do in the way of pathways, that's going to be one of your main concerns. The other thing is, I know these speed bumps were put in here. They do not go all the way across the road. So what I've seen multiple times, and I walking with my wife has happened multiple times, when people try to avoid the speed bumps, they drive around them into pedestrians because they don't go all the way across the street. They have a gap in the middle and a gap on the sides. And it happens to be right where our condo, the Island Club, is right at our garbage cans. So if you're getting to the garbage cans and are recycling, people literally drive around the curbs, around the speed bumps, into our tree and into our garbage cans. The road needs to be corrected for safety through enforcement and correct speed bumps. I don't mind the sidewalk. It probably should be there. But I think enforcement and correcting a lot of other imperfections in trying to reduce speed would be better off. There's also, automatic systems where you can flash lights as the cars go beyond 25 or 30 miles an hour to get people to slow down. But it's poor driving and poor enforcement and the speed bumps that don't go all the way across the road that actually cause more damage or more risk to safety than the speed bumps do slowing people down. And there's a rock, we call it the Plymouth Rock. There's a rock that's about 4 foot in diameter that sits in front of 1511. That when someone moved to go around these speed bumps, they crushed into that rock and drug it about 40 feet into the pea stone. So it happens all the time if you don't watch what you're doing. But I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. The trailers are way too big for that ramp. The trucks that go down to the industrial marina. And one thing also is, have anybody done a study on the people that actually use this road? Those boat ramps are being used for commercial jet ski, pontoon boats, and businesses all the time. So people park over in the free parking south of 15th Street and 16th and 17th Street, the new paid parking over by Publix that they just introduced, and then they walk down to their commercial business, which is jet skis and boat rentals from a public boat ramp. If you stop some of those problems, it would bring the safety level way up and the risk way down. So I don't know why that's not done, but I've lived here my whole life, and I've seen 6, 7, 8 jet skis, party boats, all kinds of cruises leaving 15th Street, and I can tell you they're commercial. They are not friends in public.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for feedback. If I may, just I'm going to just try to address your comment related to traffic calming and speed humps. So what we have in there are speed cushions. They are made out of asphalt, and the reason why we installed cushions, and the city started doing that a couple of years ago with a few exceptions, is that they do not slow down emergency response. The research has shown that every speed hump that goes edge to edge of the road can slow down emergency services up to 15 seconds per one. And obviously our emergency services are fighting for every second when it comes to preserving life and safety. I think that when it comes to traffic calming, there is absolutely definitely always ability to do certain things certain way, better way, and improve upon. But I still think that slowing down traffic by implementing speed humps is a separate but related effort to improving safety, right? Because ultimately, if we leave pedestrians walking in the street, they're still sharing space with vehicles, and even though vehicles tend to slow down at the location of the speed hump, they also tend to increase their speed in between the two. So if you have pedestrians walking in a travel lane, safety score will not be that great. So that's my feedback. And when it comes to, I know that you asked also about use of the marina and whatnot. That's something that unfortunately I wouldn't be able to provide a feedback on, but it's a legit feedback. Thank
Okay.
you for that.
And
Thank you, I appreciate it. And just real quick, if you leave those speed bumps or humps, whatever you call them, not going to the edge of the road, and you put this pathway in, keep in mind, cars drive around it and they drive to the outside, which is where your pathway will be.
Good feedback. We'll be mindful.
Thank you.
the gentleman in the back, thank you.
I live at 1472, and there's two of us disabled. Stuff like that. There's no place for us to add an extra space in our lot, so everybody loses the space. There's really there's no room.
Is that Norwich or?
No, 1470.
I see. I'm not sure exactly what the impact would be there. I think that outside of here, we would basically just look at the better behavior rather than shifting anything.
No, there's no place. There is no room. We would all lose a space.
I understand, but
So if we lose a space and the two of us are disabled, does one of us have to park 2 or
Yeah.
3 blocks away
Yeah.
in order to try to get to our house?
what I'm saying is that we might not be impacting anything there. It's just people not leaving 2 feet between their wheel and the wheel stop.
We
I
understand that.
will tell you this.
We have 2 Hondas.
I
And
see.
if we pull right up to the stop, which is right up to the sidewalk by the
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
And 2 Hondas, not F-150s,
Uh-huh.
end to end,
Yeah,
almost come to the edge.
yeah, we will take a look at that. 1472.
1472.
Yeah, we'll take a
You know,
look at
I
that.
mean, 'cause, like, and then if we do lose a parking space, what do we do with the value of the house?
The goal is not to lose parking space.
Well,
Again.
that is the goal,
Yeah.
but if we,
Like 4 feet.
yeah, if you take 4 feet, then you're gone.
Yeah. No, we'll work around that.
All right, they're committed to working with each condominium individually to make sure that I shouldn't put words in your mouth.
Yeah. Go ahead, take over.
Okay, no, you have
No,
to
no.
work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So 1472, is that the very first on the north side?
Let me just say.
No,
let's say I walked up and down the street, I counted 133 spaces on the south side of the street.
You're right.
That would be impacted by your 2 plants. And I, even with smaller cars, I don't see where you're even gonna get 4 feet. 3 feet you're talking about making it smaller in certain places. And, I just don't see it. How are you can't work with us. And I looked at each one. It's not just the ones you identify, the 1 or 2. And I've lived there for 30 years. I was told we could have tandem parking when we moved in. What is that gonna do to the value of my property?
Yeah.
To all of a sudden just have 1 parking spot.
So again, we will not be affecting, we will not be affecting any parking. You will not lose parking spaces. That's not, yeah. But that's, yeah. Let me tell you. Yeah.
Well, we do it now, you know, and
Look-
they used to ticket.
Yeah, look, the point is this.
To park on the side,
the-
when I first moved there.
Yeah.
They don't do it anymore, but it's not gonna change behavior because all these people move into 1 unit and they have 2 cars. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
This is one of the last few affordable neighborhoods in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And you're gonna mess with it. It's all the servant
I agree
people, the marine people who live there, and all of a sudden, we're gonna have 1 parking spot.
So you.
So
And you
I
should
think-
Collaborate with the community.
Yeah.
The community, this man wants it, he's concerned about safety, I understand that. But I'd like to really know what the accident data is, that, someone authorizes the amount of money to do a study like this. I've lived there for 30 years. Your accident, were people getting hit, or was it just cars hitting cars, or what was it?
So this is what I would suggest. So again, this is feasibility study only. There is no shovel in the ground at this point,
I
right?
understand
Yeah,
that.
but let me just finish, if you don't mind. So option 1 is do nothing, okay? Leave it alone. Option 2 is do something, right? And that can be either 4 or 5 foot path, or there might be alternative or combination of the two. The city will not come and do anything that you guys are not in agreement with, or most of you are not in agreement with. With that said, what I would suggest is that everyone attends public meetings. We explain you the impact. Ultimately, this might happen as well. You basically say, hey, implement the path. And we identify designer, we design the path, we construct the path once we have funding, which might be a year, 3, 5, 7 from now, right? And at that point, we implement something, right? And we do the best that we can. There might be still encroachments onto that path, similar to what's happening today with the travel lane, but the city is not enforcing it again. So we're very mindful of that. We have been mindful of that for the last 30 years that is happening, all right? And the intent in here, no one is gonna say non-conforming anymore. Now, if there are some elements that are, or areas that are being redeveloped and stuff, then we might be looking at, you know, different set of standards, right? But at this point, again, we're working with you, okay?
Okay, I just don't get it though, because I'm not an engineer.
We
but
can
I
go
know-
out there and we can measure it.
I was walking down the street the other day, it's like, there's not even 3 feet
Yeah,
between, you know.
their particular situation. I was surprised it didn't show up in the graph,
This is 1472.
right across from 1501.
It's not, and another thing is, why are you picking on the south side of the street? What about the north side? They get off scot-free in this proposal, you know?
Yeah, that is true. Why, what's going on?
The reasoning behind that is the majority of the existing sidewalk is on the south side.
The majority of the what?
Of the existing sidewalk is on the south side.
Okay.
Is there any utility, more utilities on the north?
There is
Hey,
impacts.
guys,
landscaping on it.
Guys, there's gonna be 2 more public meetings, and they're gonna be working with the individual associations. Go back
Yeah.
based on this feedback and take a extra special look at those situations.
Yep.
One last question on this before we move on. Sure.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Vicky told me a number to call. I called twice, left my email and my telephone number. Transportation said that regarding these meetings, they'll call you back. Nothing. Crickets.
I apologize about that. What is the number that you called? And I'm gonna leave you my cell phone number so you can call them.
The email, it's the number on the flyer, the September 30th.
Oh, that's not good.
I will take a look at that.
All right.
But I'm gonna leave you my-
He says after a few
Oh, this is
rings, he
October
says he'll
10th.
call you back. Nothing, nothing.
Mhm.
I apologize about that. I will look.
And the absolutely last question, sir.
Moved from Saucega, I lived
Just came out.
14,
We just have the
lived there
different
for 22 years.
Okay.
4 weeks ago, when they were doing the construction of the sewer pipe out of the school, my wife and I, in the morning, we were going to a doctor appointment. We're going west on 15th Street up to the pool. Have the people or something, left or right. So we turned right. And there's 3 motorcycle cops sitting there. I'm so happy. I said, I cannot believe, I've never seen a police motorcycle on 15th Street in 22 years. I was so excited. My wife, I said, what, should we go back? Let's go back and talk to them and see why they never on 15th Street, ever. And the minimum speed on 15th Street, on the other side of Cordova, heading down the launch ramp, is average speed is 60 miles an hour.
With boats and trailers.
Red button and trailer.
All coming from federal,
But anyway,
sir,
federal.
federal.
Yeah.
I apologize.
You were right.
So I turned
Hit it on the
to my wife and we turned a corner and she said, let's go back and talk to them, ask them why they're never there. So we turned around, not realizing that when I turned the corner, I was going the wrong way.
Oh, you didn't get a ticket, did you?
So I talked to him, he said, here's your ticket.
Ah,
Yeah, he gave me a ticket for $168.
Oh, my God.
I said to him, I've never seen, ever seen.
Can you fix
24
that
hours,
ticket?
Weekends, anytime.
I don't think
a
so.
Patrol car.
I did it for myself.
on 15th Street, ever. He said, all you have to do is call.
Call.
If you call,
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
they'll come.
yes.
Yeah, I have it
So
in front of my
everybody
house.
here that lives on 15th Street, I'm gonna start calling. I'm
I
gonna sit
do.
out there on a lounge chair
Let's do it.
and see if
I do.
they respond,
They
because
park in my
I
driveway.
have 2 grandkids with a bicycle.
Yep.
One neighbor has a father lives across the street at Norwich, who used to walk across the street with a cane. And the cars come down the street both ways.
Yeah, and they cross on the double line. They don't, they pass. They don't even wait for the.
And they
cars to
beep
come
at
on.
you when
And
you're.
my
when you're-
window looks right on the street, so I probably have better data than anybody else.
You interfere and then they.
No, I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah. Okay.
It's not, and they fly over the speed bump.
Okay, everybody, we'll be back here September 30th. what time is the meeting?
Yeah, so it's evening meeting, I believe, 6 PM. Also, just one thing about September 30th, right? So we have a very limited space in here. Be mindful of that. We'll have a hybrid meeting with the Zoom as well. We can accommodate up to 500 people on the Zoom. Again, we're sending notices to about 645 property owners along Southeast 15. We should get it within a week or so. We'll put yard signs, so please provide your feedback. The QR code that you scan takes you to our webpage that gives you background and also 2 concept plans. And again, you have our commitment that we'll work together. We don't want you guys to lose any parking, but we want to figure out how we can make it safer, all right?
Oh.
And again, option is do nothing and option is do something, right? But we'll work together on that.
And Marilyn. you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
we together need to like discuss amongst ourselves together as an ad hoc and compromise, like, listen, because each of you has great input here. But if we can come up with something that helps everyone, like together, then let's try before that meeting.
Yeah,
I think we should do that. If you.
we'll work on it
Going
to us. In
Thank
other
you.
words, as a group, as
As a little
as the
ad hoc.
homeless owners association, we'll try and contact people who we know
Yeah, and we'll
and we'll
to
try and work together.
get a Zoom going and
Okay.
talk about.
Right, we'll do that. Okay, thank you very much, everybody who is in for this particular subject. The next subject is an important one too. Okay, one more,
Thank you.
okay? Quickly, the sewers.
Anybody who's angry, please
Right.
leave. That's absolutely. We're old friends at this point, so.
Yugoslavia.
Well, I'm.
There we go.
I see it.
What do you? If you're presenting, let's fix this. Like you said, I'm just trying to fix this for you because I think it's a bigger, we can get a bigger, fix this on.
I don't figure.
Okay, you're okay. Yeah, there's a way that we could make you see better.
Okay, wait a second, guys. Sidewalk people, please leave. Everybody still down there. We can do this in 10-15 minutes, okay? Because the police are gonna throw us out. Okay, 10-15 minutes on sewers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try to keep it brief. Thanks, everybody, for allowing us to come. Thanks, Marilyn. We appreciate it. This is our 3rd time here, so just providing an update on the project. If you don't mind, let's go ahead and jump in. So as far as the scope goes, I think everybody remembers, what we're doing here. We're repairing and replacing some of the sewer pipeline that runs through the Harbordale neighborhood. We have already done a pretty substantial portion of open cut pipeline that was replaced on 15th Street over the summer. That also included some work done on Miami Road. So thank you guys for your patience. We really appreciate that. And thank you for your understanding. We were able to do that during the school break. So I think everybody was really pleased with that, especially the principal over at Harbordale Elementary School. So, but we are going to be picking up another phase of the project starting next Wednesday, the 17th, that will also affect you. So if you want to run to the next one. So just to let you know, I know that Marilyn has distributed some information that gave you some dates about when the work was going to be starting, but there has been a little bit of a delay in terms of materials procurement and getting everything that we needed to start the project. So it's supposed to start at the beginning of the month. Now it's going to start on the 17th, probably run through the end of the year. So let's jump into some of the lane closures and detours. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a closure in the intersection of Southeast 15th Street and Southeast 10th Avenue. And then some work with some open pits that extend south on Southeast 10th from 15th. There will be partial lane closures stretching the balance of Southeast 10th until you get to 17th. And then once you cross over 17th, between 17th and I think it's 18th Court there. Again, those are just partial lane closures. So this is much more minimal, or I want to say minimally invasive compared to the open cut portion that was done. Although now we have to contend with the elementary school, so their car line is going to be affected because it has to detour certain ways. So we do have a flyer here that that kind of shows what it's gonna do to the car line and where they're gonna be routed, where the flaggers are gonna be. We have some copies that we'll leave with you, Marilyn, if you want to distribute. The only thing I would say is the date on it says from September to late October, but that's gonna push back.
Yeah.
So.
Actually,
I'll
give
give
it
it out
to
to
Mark.
my community.
His
and then
condo.
it was late.
Right. So, so basically this is the area that's going to be affected. Like we said, there's going to be a little bit of additional traffic congestion around the times of pickup and drop off at the school. Everything else, hopefully will flow as normally as it can during the construction work.
So nobody is gonna be able to come down 15th Street from Federal Highway all the way down because it's blocked in the middle.
So I
So they're
think
gonna go to Boston Market.
I think that's only partial, right?
Right, so we're constructing this in phases. The intersection of 10th Avenue and 15th Street itself will not be closed during regular hours.
Huh.
We're trying to plan that construction that where the intersection needs to be closed on a certain weekend, which we haven't yet picked a weekend. It's basically keeping the bus route of the elementary school as well in mind. And we wanted to close the intersection, confine ourselves into the intersection, finish the work using a 24-hour operation, starting like one of Friday nights into like Monday morning before the school comes in, including restoration to be completed. So that's still gonna be toward, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's still gonna be towards end of October, possibly into November potentially, but we haven't picked an exact date or exact weekend for it. But we will be starting on from the south side of Southeast 10th Avenue, starting at 18th Street, moving our way towards 17th Street, 16th Street and the 16th Court itself. We're gonna go up to 15th, but we'll not close the intersection of 15th right now.
Okay, so this is not really correct
So it's
information.
gonna be intermittent.
Intermittent
when it's
closing.
closed. So
Intermittent closing on 15th Street.
we'll reach back out when we find out
To do
more
that.
of the detail of when it's. gonna be.
Okay, and is this the end of it? Is this
Or
it?
do we ask?
Are we finished with this project?
So I know there's still gonna be some work being done to make connections in the neighborhood. So it won't be the last that you see of the construction crews.
Mhm.
But
So we're doing all the heavy lifting of the construction work right now. We got the big stretch of pipe along Miami Road installed, a big stretch of pipe along 15th Street installed. Now we're trying to do the rehabilitation of the existing pipe along 10th Avenue. And once all that is done, there's some interconnections we gotta do between all these three sections. And then we're gonna eventually clean, test the line and certify it. The state's gotta certify too.
Oh.
And then that's when, at that point, we can do the final resurfacing of the road and then the pavement markings, the striping and all that is gonna come through. And at that point, you could possibly consider,
And
this project.
And you're gonna put back our painted intersections?
Yes, we will.
Oh, that's gonna be funny.
Yeah, I'll
That's
do
gonna be funny. One question for the benefit of the people who live south of Federal Highway. You're using one of the vacant lots there as a staging area? You're staging dirt and pipes and machinery there. As a matter of fact, the valves are sitting in the street, the big valves. Would you please work with those neighbors there because they're the ones who've been, suffering and the dust and the dirt and the noise. So we've gotten some
The ones
complaints.
south of Federal, you're saying?
South of
Yeah,
Federal,
okay.
yeah, there's a row of townhouses there. I've sent you his name, you know him, you haven't,
Neil, yeah.
Neil, please work with Neil and try and, keep it down over there because people live there, all right? Yes, Diana.
So my question is, you're saying that 15th from Federal, US 1, down 15th going, towards east, right, on Federal. That little stretch where our townhomes are, everyone was cutting through Boston Market when it was closed last night. They were cutting through Boston Market into our neighborhood, to go through our neighborhood, which is private roads, and then going to 16th Street, and going wherever they want to go. Are we going to have that same issue, or is it different than the way you're doing it this time?
This is gonna be different because
Okay.
then we're actually practicing, yeah, because then we're actually doing actual work on 15th Street itself, so we have
Right.
whole 15th Street
That's
closed.
fine.
In this case, the work is actually on 10th Avenue.
Okay.
There's only gonna be a little bit of interconnection work in the intersection of 15th and 10th Avenue. But that's gonna be on a certain weekend. It's just gonna be.
That's
just a
fine. It
weekend.
was just dangerous because they were speeding through our community, and since we don't have that much traffic, there were kids, we have kids in the corner. It's not a safe situation with these people that don't know our community going through. Residents go slow. They go like 15 miles or 10, but the other people just speeded through.
Right.
Yeah, we've
They were
seen it.
coming the one way too. They
Right.
were coming from 16th Street and ours is a one way. 15th Street to 16th is a
Yes.
one way in, and then you have to go out on 16th.
Okay, anybody have any questions about this? Yes.
Yes. Yes, Marilyn? I
Okay,
have a question.
hang on. I'll be right with you, buddy.
He's 10. So I'm representing Runaway Bay condominium. That's our building right here. So you guys Lance already did Miami Road. That was trenchless, right?
Right. There's
Correct.
Trenchless up to this point. This was the big dig.
Correct.
It was also painted red. This is now gonna be the next big dig, right?
So it's
They're putting
different.
Force mains.
It's different because it's not an open cut
It's not
segment.
open
It's
cut.
not open. There is gonna be a pit there,
Okay.
but it's not gonna be as invasive
So
as
because
the open cut.
16th Street, right here.
Correct.
Right, that intersection. It stops there, and then what is this, trenchless?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rest of the way.
Yeah, all the.
So coming out of our condominium, we have two access points. This side next to the school, and then underneath the breezeway coming out on the 16th.
You're only gonna have a partial lane closure there. So one lane will still be open.
Okay, all right, but this is not a big dig here.
No. It's all trench.
This is all rehabilitation work.
Correct.
The biggest amount's gonna be there.
Correct.
Okay.
So I can tell.
Buddy, you had
Yes,
questions.
yes, I have a property on the corner of 16th Street and 10th Avenue, right where the pipe is gonna be going. Is there gonna be any kind of vibration, any kind of foundation issues there with me? That condominium, Harbordale condominium,
Right on it's the Harbordale condominiums right on that corner there.
correct?
Yeah. No, this is,
There's no concerns about any vibration or anything as such, we're well within our permissible limits and there's not gonna be any vibration per se going on within this construction itself. There's just gonna be a CIPP, what do you call this, cured in place pipe rehabilitation method. This is not invasive at all. It's just gonna be
so people understand what that means. And I've learned this. You're rehabilitating the existing pipe.
Existing pipe.
They're lining the existing pipe.
They're
but
sleeving it, they're sleeving
sleeving
it.
it. Yes,
Right.
Okay,
okay.
but there's not gonna be any kind of big, thing going on there with like any kind of shaking of the ground, right? It's an
No.
older building and
Right.
okay,
Good,
thank you.
yeah. All right. Any other questions from the audience before we wrap it up on the sewers? No? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. All right.
Marilyn.
Hope we never see you again.
Thank you.
Yes,
We're gonna stay.
Corner.
wait a second. What?
You know where they had to dig up where we painted on Cordova?
No, they're not responsible.
Yes.
We have to discuss that with our commissioner to see if we can find some money to fix that.
Is that 2 months?
Yep.
Was it
Yeah.
up again?
Okay. Yeah.
Right now it's still a hearing. Come up here, because you can come up here. Oh.
Oh,
Please, go to the hot seat, everyone.
The question from the audience was, when and if we're going to get our intersection at Cordova Road repainted after the sewer line break? And this is Vicky Gargano from Ben Sorensen's office.
Nice to meet you all if we haven't met. So yeah, there's two intersections in Harbordale. It's they're both southeast 15th Street. One is Miami Road and the other is southeast 10th Avenue.
It's Cordova and 15, where they painted.
There's
the
three.
intersection.
No, she's talking about the first two and that,
I'm talking about the ones that FDOT called out in their August 29th letter. So right now, they still have to decide the future of whether or not the city has to paint over those.
oh, that's an entirely different question, which is a very good question. You're all aware, I'm sure, of the fact that the governor has said that all the painted intersections throughout the state of Florida have got to go, okay? And we have, yes, and we have two that he has cited. The one is by the school,
Mm-hmm.
on both sides of the school.
Yeah.
Two, on both sides of the school. So the sewer guys are putting them back and the governor is taking them away. So that's a,
Citywide, that's terrible. We should like.
There's 15, right?
I think, I wanna say 11.
Because there's 11 on the.
oh, okay, okay.
And then.
All right, well, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the subject for the next meeting, okay? The intersections. No, well, but it's, there's a lawsuit going on and there's things and we'll get a report at the next meeting that will definitely be on the agenda. Well, not yet. So we will talk about that at the next meeting. Any other questions for Vicky? Yeah? All right.
I want it to be nice and beautiful again too, and I want to ask, okay, when can we get that done? But we can't until we know the future of what FDOT decides.
Right. What's the point of painting it back
they're
if
gonna
the
have
governor
to.
is going to have us remove them? So,
Use the money.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
nice to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody online, the police station has to be closed. So we're going to adjourn this meeting tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming online and in the room. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Hey, we're over. Thank you.
What's going on? That's a question that I have.
Design.
Oh, we heard about that. I know.